Welcome to LabVantage Solutions webinar on solving your laboratory analytics challenges. I want to thank you all for making the time to join us today. My name is Alan Marcus, and I'm the Chief Growth Officer here at LabVantage. Bioanalytic researchers in manufacturing labs often struggle due to lack of integration of analytics tools with lab information systems. This makes the process inefficient and vulnerable to errors. LabVantage's integrated assay analytics solutions built on tcgmcube is automating and streamlining this for some of the largest biopharma and biotech organizations. Today, we'll discover how our advanced analytics AI-driven products make manufacturing processes faster and cost-efficient. We'll talk about ensuring ICHM 10 and Part 11 compliance with automated solutions, and we'll see live demonstrations of our implemented use cases across biopharma and biotech organizations. Now, let me introduce our distinguished speakers, Dr. Krish Ghosh, President, TCG Digital, and Panchali Roy Chaudhary, Senior Director of Consulting, TCG Digital. Dr. Ghosh has over 3 decades of experience as a distinguished business leader across diverse sectors, including pharmaceuticals, CROs, molecular laboratories, and data analytics companies. He's held senior management roles at MIBA, DeepThink Health, Semaphore, LabCorp, Covance, Pfizer, and BMS. At TCG Digital, he leads the Life Sciences Division, transforming labs, clinical trials, manufacturing, and commercial processes with advanced analytic solutions. Ms. Roy Chaudhary brings over 22 years of expertise in analytics and data science consulting, project management, and solution development, with a strong focus in life sciences. She has worked on solutions for pharma and biotech, as well as CROs, focusing on solutions for research, clinical trials, and manufacturing. At TCG Digital, she plays a pivotal role in the conceptualization and development of innovative AI-based solutions and products in the life sciences space. And keep in mind, you're all muted, but at any time that you have a question, you can type it into the Q&A section, and we will address the questions at the end of the webinar. You'll be receiving the recording, the slides, and the demo links post-webinar. So Dr. Ghosh, Ms. Roy Chaudhary, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Alan, for the kind introductions. Dear audience, both Panchali and I are going to do a role play here to make this webinar interesting for you. So we'll change our affiliation and job titles to make this interesting. So here it is. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our participants and viewers. This is Dr. Krish Ghosh. I'm the Vice President of Manufacturing at Cutting Edge Pharma. I have my colleague, Panchali Roy Chaudhary, with me. She is the Director of Manufacturing. Panchali, it seems you really like the LabVantage Analytics module of the LabVantage Analytics LIMS software that is driven by AI and want to purchase them for all your manufacturing labs and replace the existing statistical and BI tools that are currently being used at these labs. But I'm not sure this is really going to add any incremental value for us. Also, we spend so much of effort and money to get to the existing tools in place 3 to 4 years ago, if you remember. It was a big effort and a big lift on our end. And it seems to be working fine. Am I missing anything? Please help me understand the rationale for this decision.
Sure, Krish. So first of all, this whole intersection of AI and life sciences has brought in this whole new age of possibilities in completely transforming the landscape for pharma, biotech, and this leads to huge opportunities for our labs. Some of the key questions that I get from my colleagues are related to driving higher productivity in the labs, reducing costs, and so on. And some of these questions are, how do I get an integrated environment for analysis? How do I improve the yield from the manufacturing process? How do I predict the expected workload in the lab through optimal scheduling? How do I balance workload across instruments, balance the instrument utilization? How do I monitor the production KPIs? There are so many KPIs to consider. How do I monitor them real time? How do I quickly search across the hundreds of SOPs that we have to get quick insights? Now, AI and analytics has the capacity to process vast amounts of data and discern very complex patterns and make predictions and recommendations based on these patterns detected. And this has set the stage up for the life sciences industry to witness revolutionary advancements. Hence, we need to move towards driving AI-based solutions for our labs.
Okay, I agree why we want to remain in the cutting edge, and that's our company's name as well and our mission, and be a leader in this space. So I agree. But why LabVantage Analytics? There's so many companies out there that have promised the same functionalities and LabVantage Analytics. We have also evaluated many of them. Isn't that the case? What is differentiating LabVantage Analytics from other software?
Let me first provide you with an overview of the LabVantage Analytics platform, and then I'll talk about the differentiating factors. So LabVantage Analytics, it comes as a module of LIMS that extends the LIMS capabilities to cover end-to-end analytics. It offers out-of-box BI, AI capabilities, as well as a range of solutions for specific business problems in the labs. It is fully modular and can be implemented at different levels of adoption. So it can read data from the LIMS as well as the other data sources that we have from the lab. This includes instrument data, and then use all of these data to provide comprehensive insights. Let me do a deep dive and take you through the high-level architecture of the platform. So LabVantage Analytics is powered by an end-to-end robust analytics platform called tcgmcube. And I'm going to walk you through this architecture from right to left. So on the rightmost side, you have the insights layer, which provides all the dashboards, the reports, the interactive screens. So this is the layer with which our lab colleagues will be interacting with. And this layer provides easy self-service capabilities with a wide assortment of visualization options, drag and drop authoring for creation of new dashboards, widgets, and reports. Behind this is where the action is. That's where you have a robust analysis layer that has an assortment of over 1,000 plus analytics and AI ML algorithms to power the different solutions. And it has cutting edge stuff like deep learning algorithms, large language models, generative AI. So the good part is, we have so much of data that we need to churn. So Spark is actually a mainstay of the platform and supports distributed processing on very large data sets. So the solution, the platform actually offers a big data store that supports different kinds of data, structured data, unstructured data. So it supports the creation of hot and cold data repositories, in-memory analysis for rapid search and query responses, indexing on write for real-time analysis, distributed query processing for a faster response, extreme performance, and very, very high scalability. Now, this layer can help us manage our master data and address data quality issues. We have a lot of those with so many different non-standard stuff floating around. So the platform offers inbuilt data profiling capabilities, and it can profile the data real time or in batch using a variety of transformations. Now, to fetch the data from the different sources, it has many, many different pre-built connectors in the data ingestion layers, which is there on the far left. So the data can be ingested in batch or in real time. And the ingest, if it's a batch ingest, it can be triggered either based on a time trigger or an event trigger. The platform is modular, so it can work with the technology ecosystem that we already have in our lab. So let's talk about the building blocks, the fundamental building blocks that can help power all the different solutions. So all the LabVantage Analytics solutions are actually built on these 4 fundamental building blocks that the platform offers, which is the data ingest, the store, the analyze, and the visualize. So this end-to-end analysis capabilities presents a huge differentiator with respect to what we have today in our labs, and it also provides a very clear advantage over some of the other software platforms that I have been evaluating. Now, this is the best part. You're going to like this. So to provide a seamless user experience, the analytics module offers a single sign-on with the LIMS and can be directly accessed from the LIMS menu. So our scientists don't have to feel that they're going into a different system. It's like they're accessing, it's just an extension of what they are already using. The users and their access control can be defined in LIMS, and this information flows in seamlessly to the analytics module.
Okay, so this is exciting. Can you talk about some of the differentiation using a specific example? As many of our labs use stability analysis and shelf life prediction, for example, do they have anything comparable? This has to be really good, though, in order to compete with the current solutions we have, which are pretty good.
Sure. So they do have a very comprehensive solution for stability analysis and shelf life predictions. So let me walk you through that. So this solution enables the users perform the stability analysis and the shelf life predictions, and it provides seamless integration with LIMS. So it can fetch the necessary data, stability data from the LIMS system, do the necessary analysis, and if needed, send back the outcome to the LIMS system using standard LIMS APIs. So the built-in reporting capabilities that the solution has increases the accessibility and timeliness of information. Now, this solution will support both our drug product stability and the drug substance stability analysis, and is completely compliant with the ICH guidelines. Our scientists will be able to select various statistical parameters for analysis. So things like confidence intervals, prediction intervals, upper and lower acceptance limits. So upper and lower limits for the residual standardizers. So the window of observation for shelf life. When it comes to confidence bands, whether it's a one-sided confidence band or a two-sided confidence band. So there's a whole host of statistical parameters that the analyst or the scientist can specify. The solution provides the ANOVA and ANCOVA statistics, the analysis of the residuals, the residual plots, and of course the shelf life predictions with the confidence bands, and gives the users complete flexibility of analysis. It can work with either individual batch data. You can also pool in multiple batches together, so either all batches in a study together or multiple batches in a certain campaign grouped together, and then do the shelf life prediction using a pooled batch analysis rather than individual batches. So there are multiple reports that are configured, and the reporting modules allows the users to configure even more. So there are reports on things like batch analysis over time, so the analysis of various campaigns, at different storage conditions, the batch comparability analysis, and there are so many different reports that can be created out of the solution.
That definitely makes sense on paper, though, because you're presenting on a PowerPoint, but it would be great to see a demo of this solution if that exists.
Of course, there is a demo which exists. Here it is.
Here is a short demonstration of our stability analysis solution. It is a seamless bidirectional integration with LIMS to expedite analysis and eliminate the need for any kind of manual interventions. Go to Data Analysis, browse through the complete data for different studies, different products, different container types, and so on. If you want to do the stability analysis and fit the stability curve, go to Variable Selection and choose the specific parameters. Choose the relevant product ID, the storage environment, the condition label or any other parameter you want to specify. You can also define the various statistical parameters of interest. For example, specify you need a 95% two-sided confidence interval with a linear model. You can specify the lower and upper acceptance limits, which determine the shelf life. You can also specify the maximum horizon for observing the shelf life. Click on Submit, the analysis will run at the back and give you all the relevant results. The run is now complete. We can now view all the different results for this specific parameter set. Let us look at the variable assessment, which provides the outcome of the ANOVA and ANCOVA analysis. We can see the outcome presented in tabular form, and it also specifies the different model parameters. We can also view the residual analysis. So, the analysis of the standardized residues is along with the residual plots. We can view the shelf life predictions either one batch at a time or in pooled batches and then fit the curve. Let us select this particular batch and generate the shelf life prediction curve. So, the linear curve is generated with a 95% confidence bands as specified. Based on our selected input parameters, it gives the specific equation which is the outcome of the curve fitting. It provides the parameter estimates and the summary with statistics and detailed tabular output for each month. The expiry time finally gets calculated at 19 months based on the analysis presented here. In this way, this solution boosts productivity in the labs by offering a way to seamlessly analyze stability data from LIMS. It also gives the users to write back analysis outcome into the LIMS system so the analyst can take further action in LIMS. Try our integrated and comprehensive analysis solution today to get a significant boost to your lab's productivity.
Wow, this looks good. I would say this looks great. However, for our manufacturing, we need complex AI-based solutions for getting the optimal mix of raw materials and manage the overall yield through our complex manufacturing processes. Particularly, we are quite a bit into, biologics and mRNA and plasma and other derived products. Are there solutions in this space that allows us to see a better view of the optimal pooling of such raw materials?
Sure. Let me do a deep dive on the plasma pooling solution, which can enable our labs which work with plasma-derived therapeutics to have an optimal blend of raw materials in the manufacturing lots. So, as you know, some of our colleagues are working on creating these plasma-derived products. It's one of our important departments. And one of the key steps in the manufacturing process is to create an optimal starting pool, the pool of plasma, factoring in various business considerations and scientific constraints for each of the product types that we are manufacturing. So we can actually configure multiple objectives in the solution, put in different constraints in the form of business rules, and configure all of this within the solution to drive optimal outcomes. Let me walk you through a few examples of such constraints and objectives. For example, our analysts can first specify the number of pools that they want to build, along with constraints related to the volume of the pool, so they can specify a volume range. What is the, specify the minimum diversity criteria in the pool, thresholds for the minimum age and the maximum age for the plasma. The analyst can also specify constraints related to protein levels, depending on the product that we are trying to create. So what they can specify the range of protein levels that it's desired in the final manufacturing lot. And also, most importantly, supply chain related constraints, like which material codes can be included or excluded, shipments and cases that can be excluded or needs to be mandatorily included. There are also options to factor in geographical location related constraints. So which locations that you need to include or which locations you want to exclude, or if there are locations which you want a certain percentage of the pool to come from, So there is a whole host of constraints that you can set up in the solution. So the solution offers the users with flexibility to perform various what-if scenario analysis and then provide recommendations to the analyst to then review the pools and then accept or reject those recommendations. Now, this solution can lead to a 10x reduction in the time for each of the pool creation the analyst does. Now we are using a lot of manual steps in this whole process. And this can also help us save millions by reducing the cost of poor quality because the pools are more scientifically formed. Let me take you through a short demo to illustrate the solution.
Here is a short demo of our plasma pooling solution that facilitates the creation of optimal plasma pools factoring in a complex web of business constraints. The solution integrates data from multiple sources for comprehensive analysis and modeling. You can choose the desired product and proceed with the configuration of the pool creation parameters. Select the desired number of pools and the acceptable range for the pool volume. You can choose to specify the desired antibody levels for certain products. Choose the minimum diversity criteria in terms of minimum number of unique donors for the pool. Specify the acceptable minimum age for the plasma inventory as well as the duration for the expiry. You can choose to specify constraints around locations to be excluded or mandatorily included in the pool and the range of contributions from a given location. By default, all locations are included. To exclude a location, simply click on the edit icon, choose the location to exclude, and then click on Save. You can also specify constraints on inventory material codes to be used as well as shipments or cases to be excluded or mandatorily included. By default, all shipments and cases are included. To exclude a certain shipment or case, simply click on the relevant edit icon and choose the item to be excluded. Click on Submit to execute the pool optimization algorithm that balances multiple objectives, such as maximizing the use of old plasma inventory, reducing the usage of expensive plasma types, reducing the splitting of cases and shipments, while observing all the business constraints specified. The solution provides a user notification once the pool optimization algorithm run is complete and the results are ready to review. The solution provides a detailed report for optimal pool specifications, covering the list of batches in the pool with the associated information, such as plasma type, shipment, case, source location, and donor preference. You can review the recommended pool and accept or reject any recommendations. Approval of a pool blocks the inventory for the relevant batches. You also have the option to view and cancel confirmed pools and release the blocked batches back to the inventory. The integrated solution provides quick recommendations for creating optimal plasma pools. This completely replaces manual processes for pool creation analysis that are time-consuming, vulnerable to human errors, non-repeatable, and analyst-dependent. Try our integrated and comprehensive analysis solution today to get a significant boost to your lab's productivity.
No doubt, this is super cool. I think our colleagues in manufacturing will really appreciate the solution. However, thinking this through a bit more, now that you have shown me a couple of demos, which are quite cutting edge, I would say, do they have a solution, say, to predict or manage yield? Because as you know, it's very important to not only create the optimal pool, but we should be able to predict with high degree of accuracy what that yield will look like after the manufacturing process is completed after many, many days and have gone through many steps. And it has to be consistent and within a certain bound and no systematic kind of trend. So do you know whether they have anything or LabVantage Analytics offers anything in that area?
Yes, so let me talk about that a bit. The solution on yield analysis and prediction, it first integrates data from multiple sources. So it ingests the data on raw materials, the manufacturing process related data. So we are actually talking about 500 plus variables out here, which could potentially impact the yield. So all of this data, using the ingest layer, it gets integrated into the solution. So as a first step, the solution will use the historical data on our manufacturing batches and all the associated variables to run an analysis to identify the impact of each and every one of those variables to identify what are the drivers of yield. The analytics engine will then use an ensemble approach. It'll use a mix of multivariate modeling and AI ML based algorithms to forecast the yield of a batch and the derived variables that we can configure. For example, we can set it up to forecast bulk yield or fill bulk weight or vials by different locations or saleable active ingredients and so on. The forecast could be derived separately for each of the manufacturing plants that we have. The solution provides users options to perform different what-if analysis, and this offers great flexibility because there are many different scenarios that the analyst would want to consider for the yield predictions. This solution can significantly increase our profitability through better yield management. Let me take you through a short demo to illustrate.
Thank you.
The pharma manufacturing process can be complex with an intricate sequence of steps that may span several days. There is a growing need for an integrated solution to predict expected yield at the start of and during the manufacturing process so that appropriate interventions may be taken to optimize the yield. Our solution for manufacturing yield predictions analyzes historical data to identify the yield drivers. A wide assortment of variables can impact the yield. These include the varying properties of raw materials and hundreds of production process parameters. You can assess the influence of each and every variable on yield by choosing to view the outcome from the univariate analysis. You can also see the graphical trend of the relationship of the variable with yield over time. The solution leverages multivariate modeling as well as AI/ML-based algorithms to predict the yield for a batch at different stages in the manufacturing process. You can choose the date range for training the model and then trigger the analysis. The model gets trained on your historical manufacturing data and captures the nuances of your specific manufacturing process. Let us now use the model to predict the yield from a batch. The solution displays the duration of historical data used for training the model as well as the mean absolute percentage error obtained from model validation to provide an indication of the accuracy that can be expected from the model. Choose a batch and a model version and click on Submit. The solution provides the yield predictions for the selected batch. You have the option to evaluate the performance of the model on an ongoing basis to track the prediction accuracy. Select a date range, the applied model, the batches of interest, and the KPI to see how accurate were the yield predictions for these batches. Try our manufacturing yield prediction solution today and experience significant improvement in manufacturing yield and overall batch profitability. Try our integrated and comprehensive analysis solution today to get a significant boost to your lab's productivity.
Yes, so they do have something on Gen AI. I think you like it. Let me show you.
Before you go there, Anjali, I was just thinking, as I was saying, I've been thinking about this, and we have a big gap here, which we have to fill. By the way, super impressive what you showed so far. But as you know, drug R&D, manufacturing, and commercial divisions, they generate tons of data just for a single molecule or drug. Okay, in the entire drug development continuum, whether you're looking at discovery, lead optimization, preclinical, and post-IND, like phase 1, 2, 3, and post-NDA and approval, you have manufacturing and commercial, right? And the issue here is that for a given molecule, whether it's ongoing or it has failed or it has been successfully launched, there's so much of data across the drug development continuum, right? And many of these data are very valuable and important to design the next set of experiments, understand the lessons learned, do an iteration, feed it back to the previous divisions for them to understand what went wrong, right? And this has been an issue in the industry because there's so much of time that is spent to churn through this information, not only our own, also what is available through public domains, competitor information, or any other information that's out there. How do you combine them and get answers to your questions now, as opposed to spending months and months trying to go through these documents and doing the kind of research? So I just wanted to set that context here to see if there's anything that LabVantage Analytics offers in this space.
Yeah, sure. So the solution that LabVantage Analytics offers is absolutely the right fit here. So as you mentioned, ChatGPT is trained only on publicly available data, and hence in many cases it might hallucinate because we have a gold mine of information within the company, and so does every other company, right? So since the company's data is generally proprietary, ChatGPT will miss critical information while answering to a specific question posed by our scientists. So tcgmcube's local large language model uses ChatGPT's trained large language model and further trains the model on the local and proprietary data sets of a specific company. So in our case, all the different documents that we have, the research papers, the past results from different experiments, our manufacturing process documents, our SOPs, everything can be, so the LLM can be trained using our data. And some examples of some of these other data sets that we could use is our tox reports, the PK reports, other regulatory reports that we have. So ChatGPT, the large language models that's publicly available, plus the model being trained on our data using tcgmcube's local large language model, actually provides a great solution. Now, references provided by ChatGPT for every query is usually at the institution level, but tcgmcube's local large language model provides references for every query at a very specific article level and pinpoints to very specific publications. And this really helps the users get better insights. The value proposition here is huge. We are looking at 10x faster responses on our document searches. Also, we will be looking at significantly improving the relevance and the contextualization of the information that's presented by the search. So let me take you through a short demo.
Before you go to the demo, I just wanted to clarify that I'm understanding your point correctly. So you're saying that if I have 30,000 documents, would they be regulatory information, SOPs, even publications or toxicology reports, that I want to put them all together and have a machine be trained so that any questions that I ask in plain English, I'm assuming it can also do in other languages, but just for sake of this exercise, if I just type in plain English, will be able to give me all the information that I need. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, of course. And as I said, let me take you through a short demo and you'll see this in action.
Can't wait.
The healthcare and life sciences ecosystem is highly complex, comprised of different stakeholders with different goals and objectives. Patient is at the center. The other stakeholders are providers who treat the patients and prescribes medication. The pharma or biotech stakeholder develops and sells those medications, and the payer, the health insurance companies, pay for it. In the pharma and biotech industry, vast amounts of data are generated daily across the entire drug development continuum, from discovery and lead optimization to preclinical and clinical development, commercial and manufacturing stages. Despite the staggering volume of data, much of it remains proprietary and unpublished, especially data from drugs in development and failed drugs. This information, although valuable, is often inaccessible to researchers and clinicians in general. Imagine if drug discovery scientists had a tool built on a large language model that could query this pool of information and extract relevant insights in no time. Access to this diverse data and intelligence pool could revolutionize their work. While open-source large language models like ChatGPT can provide access to the latest information, they are not trained on specialized and proprietary life sciences and medical data. Let me show you how. I am now in ChatGPT and I'm going to ask a question. Which mutations do children carry with juvenile myelomonocytic leukemia, JMML? As you can see, it provides 3 common mutations: NF1, PTPN11, CRAS, and NRAS. This may not be sufficient for a scientist trying to design their next experiment because they want more information. We are now going to open our own tcgmcube General AI Enterprise Search Engine, which is our large language model, and we are going to ask the same question. In fact, we did get all those answers that ChatGPT gave, but it has more, such as SETBP1 and JAK3. The query also returns the references where this information came from, because the local LLM model was trained on a subset of information. The references being a publication with PMID ending with 7648, provides the basic information, and another publication with PMID ending with 2011, which shows a whole exome sequencing that was done, which identified these secondary mutations SETBP1 and JAK3. While the ChatGPT query did not provide this information, but it showed up in our local large language model. We have trained our local large language model on highly specialized scientific and medical information that we have been collecting over the last 2 decades. Data on protein structures, chemical structures, drug labels, clinical trials, patents, genomics, clinical data, other publicly available data. Over 3.3 million biomedical entities, 440 million relations, and 40 million documents have been mined and curated. Not only that, but global knowledge graphs have also been created using AI by creating the ontologies, contextualization, applying the semantic modeling, and fairyfication. And that's why when tcgmcube's local LLM was used, it applied the knowledge graph and the semantic search and returned all the necessary information as the query result versus ChatGPT. Let's try another query and see what answers are generated by ChatGPT versus our local large language model. The major genes associated with Alzheimer's disease include these 6, as well as some information related to it. While this response is extensive, it may not be sufficient. I'm going to run the same question in our local large language model. You can see it has returned those listed in ChatGPT, but has also returned more along with the references. Let's go to the references. The Genetics of Alzheimer's, which was published in 2012, it has the basic information. Also, let's go to this reference on rare coding variants associated with the Alzheimer's, published in 2017, where it talks about the rare coding variants PLCG2, AB3, and TREM2. So, this is another example how not just the main genes, but also the rare variants are captured as responses in our local large language model. And this is because of the semantic search that is applied using the ontologies. In summary, it's fair to say that open source LLMs not just hallucinate, that is giving false positives, but but also misses reporting critical information, false negatives. Missing such critical information, which we call known unknowns, can be as detrimental as hallucination. Our local LLM has been trained on our owned and specialized data while open source trained on publicly available data. Now, your proprietary data such as toxicology reports, PK reports, clinical trial protocols, regulatory reports, and other proprietary documents for successful, ongoing and failed molecules can now be used to train the local large language model to provide faster and higher accuracy in responses and bring in more productivity to your enterprise and industry search with high velocity. Our application pinpoints the specific articles taken as references, whereas ChatGPT provides references at an institution level.
We can't hear you, Krish.
Sorry. What I was saying that I'm fully convinced that the LBA products are superior, Panchali, in terms of its functionality, ease of use, and AI capabilities. But for me to justify the investment, I'd like to know the value proposition. Have you done that part of the exercise? I would like to hear from you.
Yes, of course. Let me talk about the value proposition that LabVantage Analytics has to offer. So the integrated solutions can offer huge benefits to our quality labs, our manufacturing. So my calculations show that we can reduce the analysis effort by over 50%. And of course, get huge cost savings for our labs through higher productivity and data-driven recommendations for our analysis. We can also look at millions of increase in our profitability through improved yield management, because that is a key for us.
Okay, final question, and I asked this to everyone. Which customers you think are using LabVantage Analytics products? I have heard about this company, it's great, but just want to make sure specifically which companies are using the analytics part of the LabVantage.
So the analytics part, the Vantage Analytics solutions are being used by some of the top 50 pharma biotech companies, and it has a global footprint. So we actually have customers across the world using the LabVantage Analytics solutions.
Okay, so I'm good to take this to my boss, the Senior Vice President of Manufacturing, and secure the funding for LabVantage Analytics. I'm totally convinced. You now have a tougher job to do, Panchali, to convince the current scientists or in your manufacturing lab to switch, because they're so used to using the current products for the last 2 to 4 years. Convincing them this is going to help them do their job better now and also in the future is not an easy task. So all the very best to you.
No problem at all, Krish. The nature of the solutions makes it very easy for user adoption. I've actually shown a demo to some of my lab colleagues in the manufacturing labs. So the solution is interactive, offers an excellent user experience. So it'll actually be very easy for me to talk to our colleagues and convince them.
Dear audience, this ends the role play. As you have been listening patiently, we had to do a role play to make this interesting. Hope this helped to make the webinar interesting and useful. We are now ready to answer any questions that you may have. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Hi, everyone. I'll be doing the Q&A moderation. By the way, very engaging session, Krish and Panchali, especially with the demos. It was really compelling. So let me just stop sharing screen at the moment and just give me a moment while I bring up the questions. Okay, so we have a question. for Panchali. What kind of insights can you provide with real-time instrument data?
Okay, so AI can help proactively identify trends and patterns from the instrument tags and historical KPI data to proactively flag potential maintenance event, equipment failure points before they actually occur. And also as an immediate send an immediate notification of failure so that action can be taken to limit the loss of product time and so on. So both proactive and reactive notifications. So usually all these tags, there are thresholds configured for the tag values and variability in tag values. So if these tags are not specified, these tags can, the historical data can also be mined to constantly update these tag values or the warning limits or the actual limits. You can also configure thresholds for total durations or consecutive durations within a time window for which violating a threshold may be considered acceptable. So different types of rules can also be factored in. So in summary, AI, I would say, can assess the patterns to proactively indicate whether a tag can be expected to go beyond a certain limit within specified future horizon. That's a forward-looking proactive recommendation. And also, of course, it can do, the solutions for real-time instrument data analysis can do descriptive analytics or real-time reactive recommendations where they are saying whether it's gone out of bounds and send the relevant alerts and notifications to take timely action.
If I may just add a few points to that, well said, Panchali. It's not just how do you optimally mix the raw materials that can lead to a better yield, whether it be active pharmaceutical ingredient or the drug product itself within a certain bound, as I was talking about this earlier. But if during the manufacturing process, which may take days or even weeks and through multiple machines, multiple steps, right? If there's something that goes wrong, then it stops manufacturing process. And if you're thinking about a blockbuster drug of $1 billion nature per year, if not more, and there are quite a few in the biologic space that are of that nature, those, halting the manufacturing for even a day can cost the company tens of millions of dollars. So if there is a proactive way to understand through some of these trends that a machine is likely to fail or something is going to go wrong that you need to intervene now so that the manufacturing process does not stop, it is of immense value for the company to continue the drive of their revenue. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and just to summarize maybe, so there's this whole overall equipment effectiveness analysis that is very important through real-time instrument data. So things like condition monitoring are really important. So that's where AI can really help with instrument data analysis.
Great, thanks for the elaborate answer, Krish and Panchali. The next question is on local LLM. And maybe I'll ask this to you, Krish, because you've done quite a lot of work in that area. Using your local LLM, can I develop standard templates for my SOPs, regulatory documents, etc., based on a company's historical and archived proprietary information?
Yes, I think the video was giving some examples of how this could be done. You can use ChatGPT-4 or even later models, or there are other open source large language models out there, but most of them are trained, or almost all of them are trained on public data. And so what happens is, let's say in your manufacturing, you have 50,000 standard operating procedures, and you're trying to develop a template as you're developing a new process within the manufacturing. And you want to utilize all those SOPs for someone a company to deploy people to go through it, even through semi-automated approaches. It'll take time, maybe months. But in this case, if we take the large language model that have been trained externally, say ChatGPT 4.0, bring that model and retrain it, or I would say upgrade that training based on the local standard operating procedures with the references, as you saw in the movie or the video, the references to a specific journal or an article as opposed to just the institution, then you can go and check for validity of that. So that is of immense value because it cuts down time and resources. So it saves cost and also drives value and cuts down time as well. So in that case, I would say that training, but training is not easy. That's why I would like to emphasize that we have a large contingency of data scientists under the data science competency, and including some of them are scientifically trained with PhD level data scientists who have built some of these models, these ontologies, knowledge graphs, and also these data scientists help us work on developing these new large language models that are applicable to your proprietary data. So whether it be SOPs or medical writing or going after toxicology reports, getting that information critical on time so that you can get the answers, whether it be manufacturing related or scientific related, is important.
Great, thank you so much, Krish. Then our next question is a little bit about the operational reports. We have to generate a lot of monthly and weekly operational reports on our lab activities. Do you have anything that can help there?
Yes, so LabVantage Analytics platform has this whole operational reporting feature. So you can, this robust operational reporting module that exists within the platform can help you generate all the reports that you would need, whether it's your monthly report, weekly report, your regulatory reports. So the module offers you options to configure the reports from an easy-to-use report designer interface, and the users can specify the parameter, because all these reports can be driven by dynamic parameter specifications. There could be tabular reports, graphical reports, and you can provide role-based access controls for each of these reports, and it also gives you options to configure report bursting, so you can distribute that to a distribution list. So all kinds of reports for your labs you can generate at a predefined frequency.
Great, thank you, Panchali. And then the next one is on tech transfer. Can you talk a little bit about the use of AI in tech transfer?
Yeah, so this is coming up in a big way. So, this is all about transferring historical insights and process knowledge from R&D to production or across sites. So AI is playing a huge role in this space. So you would first of all need to aggregate the data from different steps in the manufacturing process, then identify the different variables that impact yield or cause deviations in the yield. Then you would need to model equipment to create the digital twins. So run scenarios to come up with the ideal variables to ensure product consistency, optimize yield. You would need to identify the bottlenecks, the anomalies, analyze relationships between relevant factors at scale, and also enable multi-site visibility and analytical comparisons. So AI is actually playing a huge role in this space to enable, and the benefits that you can expect would be a seamless transfer of manufacturing data and processes between the facilities, with meaningful comparisons between site locations and with real-time predictions, AI-driven predictions. And all of these would really help accelerate the time to market to faster and successful tech transfer. So AI, this is a huge area for AI.
Okay, thank you, Panchali. And one last question for Krish. I know there are lots of questions that are coming in. A lot on the Gen AI use case, a lot on the yield prediction use case. Be rest assured that we will address all of that in an email. In the interest of time, I'm just picking one last question for Krish. Which are the most impactful AI use cases you think in the overall drug development continuum?
I think that's a very tough question, given that now we know how to quickly get answers in minutes, as opposed to several people spending months to get the answer. That too is inaccurate. It opens up a whole Pandora's box. So that I can envision there'll be a lot of research and a lot of advancement in this field, particularly for our manufacturing colleagues who are listening in today. I would say that AI will also play a significant role in the area of manufacturing as they go from batch to continuous manufacturing. I know that some of our clients are already asking about, about continuous manufacturing, upstream manufacturing, downstream, and continuous. Just so you know, the LabVantage works across different sectors. So does TCG Digital, where we are not just serving pharma, biotech industry or provide repair, but we also work in other sectors like oil and gas, for example. There's no concept of batch manufacturing, it's all continuous. So that understanding of continuous manufacturing, use AI to look for not just digital twins, but also issues that can crop up in the future. How do we transfer or help transfer that knowledge as the manufacturers of pharma industry are thinking about going into that era of continuous manufacturing? And this is where a big time AI would be of significant help.
Great, thank you so much, Krish. We just have 3 more minutes. Would you like to end this with a concluding statement for the audience?
No, thank you, everyone, for joining the webinar today. We appreciate your time and your curiosity to understand what we offer. At the end of the day, I would say that please feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Unfortunately, we could not answer all the questions, but we have your email. We will reach out to you if you ever post a question. And if you have not, please feel to reach out back to us, whether it be a LabVantage related question or LIMS related question or LabVantage analytics related question or generative AI related question. Just so you know that we are here to help, and we are fully dedicated to move your company or drive value for your company in the future. So thank you for the opportunity, and hope to talk to you soon.
Great. Any concluding statement from Alan?
Yes, just thank you everyone for joining. I know your time is very valuable, and the fact that you could spend some with us gives us great honor. And as Krish said, any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out or contact your local LabVantage representative. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks to all our speakers and audience. And yes, we'll get back to you with the answers as well as the recording and the demo links. So all of that you will receive in your email. So thank you again, and have a good rest of your day, evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.